Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back. What a fantastic session on police comms we just sat through. Really love that. Love Nick Knowles, very passionate about his thing, and great to hear from some police. And we've got a next session from Amy Nettleton, who's Assistant Development Director for Sales and Marketing at Asda, and also a good friend, a good Comms Hero advocate, being the Comms Hero chair in the past as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah, very good. So Amy is responsible for award-winning sales team at Asda, who sells circa 400 homes per year. And today a session is about, the theme is there's no I in team.
No.
It's all about how her team, how she's invested in her team, how her team work together to be available to support customers, whatever the time. What I'm looking forward to seeing is how they've empowered, encouraged, supported, maybe enjoyed the time that they spend together, knowing that as a Marcom's job, it's not 9 to 5. So we'll be going to a few Q&A at the end. So if you've got any questions, drop them in the chat. Show some emojis for Amy. She loves all that. Yeah. And
not that I'm needy at all.
Yeah, so we'll do that. Lots of emojis, please. And if, as I say, any questions, any chat, we'll get that up on screen as well. So, Amy, we've worked together for a long time.
We have.
Are you all right if we're on your own? Do you want me to?
I think I'll be okay. Lee's going to do my slides, so I'm all good.
Good. All right, I'll leave you then. Bye.
Thank you. So, thank you all again, and you see me twice in one day, so I apologise for that, and I equally apologise that this isn't going to, well, it is going to be as fun as the Graham Park chat, because it's about my team, but how cool was that earlier, not to digress on my bit of a fame-hungry fangirling. So thanks again for joining me this afternoon, and as Joel quite rightly said, the strappy marketing textbook, There's No I in Team, is what I'm going to talk to you a bit about today. And I'm going to chat through why it's so important to invest in different structures and different resource levels. And just listening to the session that you had a moment ago on the policing, they were still talking about the same thing: investing time for social, staffing 24/7, getting the expertise right. You know, this isn't a new conversation, and in some respects, as honoured as I am of being here and discussing about this, it still blows my mind that we have this as a topic. It still blows my mind that we talk about how to manage in an ever-changing world and the resources and the time. I think what I want you to think about as we go through, rather than, oh my God, we just haven't got the time or the resources and it would mean that I would do it, is really put yourself in you as a consumer. And what do you expect? Do you still expect the same level of service and availability that you did 5-10 years ago? And I think the answer is no. So I think we have to address why in some areas do we fall quite far behind in that. And I always go through really what's important on this. And I'm centering today's kind of chat with you guys around the marketing team. That's one element of our team in the sales team at Asda. We have the marketing team, the new build team, the resale team, and equally the sales progression team. So this is a quarter of the team, but very representative of how we've really pushed boundaries and really empowered those within the team to make a difference. So what's important for me? Well, the people is important. And by people, I mean my people, my team, but I equally mean my customers. And that's really at the heart of everything that we talk about and we try and do. We'll always go back to why. Why do we do it? What is our why? So why do we turn up every morning to do a job? But equally questioning every form of comms decision, every form of marketing decision, why? And asking that question and making sure we get the right answers before we kind of say yes. And equally happy to change stuff and move stuff about. But equally, one of the big things within this is the organisation. So in the theme of, I know you've all missed the daily briefing, so next slide, please. So within the theme of anything, I have to always bring this back to what is the organisational vision? What is the organisation's kind of strategy? I'm part of a wider organisation. I have team obligations. I have risks to kind of go through. But ultimately, I work for Asda Group. So you need to understand what vision you're working for. And at Asda, we are very fortunate that this is the group's vision. Very simple and easily understood. So anywhere you work within Asda, you know that your sole purpose of working for Asda is to make sure that everyone has a home. So whether you are in finance, whether you are in housing management, whether you are in central services, or whether you're in sales, our vision across that organisation is to make sure that we can build and maintain as many homes as possible. So that allows us to really understand, and it allows us to easily see where we fit in and actually what our role in that vision is, and for us to have the autonomy to deliver on this, which I understand we are very fortunate in doing. Next slide, please, Lee. So how do we do that? How do we have that autonomy? How do we ensure that we are available? So going back to what I said at the beginning, what do you want as a consumer? Okay. You want to be able to contact people how you want to contact them. You want to be able to contact people when you want to contact them, and you'd like an answer. If you're like me, anything like self-checkout or robotic live chat sends me over the edge. Seriously, I would rather queue than go to self-checkout. I cannot deal with it, right? So for me, these are a few of the elements that we have available just as the norm. Our live chat function is exactly that. This isn't a robot chat. This isn't a pre-programmed chat. This isn't a scheduled chat. This is the marketing team available on live chat, usually up until kind of 11 o'clock at night. And I think we've got some of the team on today. So if I'm giving any wrong data or anything, then do shout up. But I do know that the guys are available well into the evening, 7 days a week. And what this enables is we see huge spikes in our live chat. And why is that? Well, that's probably because if you want to find a bit more about what we do, and we sell shared ownership homes, if you want to find out a bit more, but actually don't want a long conversation at the end of a day, kind of getting tea ready, maybe putting the kids to bed and just sat down watching telly, how great that you can have a live chat function that you can just whiz your questions across, and in real time, you're getting your answers. So that is a huge function for us. And we still get now people go, oh, am I actually talking to Gemma? Are you an actual person? So we still get that shock factor, which again just blows my mind in where we are now, that we still get the shock factor of that somebody else is behind live chat. Social media, so a theme that's ran through these couple of days so far, and even your last session. Social media is a big one for us. We operate across kind of Facebook, Insta, Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest, but the strategy has to be different for each of them. And you can't be afraid of the negativity either. And if any of you follow me on Twitter or follow our accounts on Twitter, you will have seen of late that we have had some negative press around people that just don't agree with what we're selling, don't agree with what we're saying. But for me, what's so important here is that you have that conversation. Don't be afraid to have that conversation, because it makes you credible. How can we go out there, and how can I stand and be a spokesperson, an advocate for something, if I'm not prepared to listen to the other side, if I'm not prepared to listen to people's real life experiences? The only way that we get any change in this world, at work or wherever, is to have a balanced discussion. So if you're afraid of having that, then for me that's a problem. And the credibility that you show across social platforms and dealing with that is huge. But again, you've got to be available. You know, you will never see a tweet from us to say on a Friday at 4:30, oh, see you later, we're off for the weekend, back on Monday at 9 a.m. Because when do people want to buy houses? Well, they don't want to buy Monday to Friday, 9 till 5, because they're doing their own work. They want to buy them in the evening and at the weekends. And what kind of social channel am I if we just go, no, sorry, we're not able to interact? Standard things like emails. We even still speak to people on the phone. I know, craze, but we do. Website is a big one for us. We try and push all of our traffic for there just so we can monitor it and understand what's working. But the two big things here really are the evenings and weekends and the not just 9 to 5. Now, how have we done that and why is that important? I knew that we had to do something pretty different before COVID. So this is pre-lockdown and pre-COVID ways of working, because my job is to sell houses. I sell pretty standard houses, so my competitors sell the same. So just put very simply, how do I make sure that we are the best? Well, we're available. How do I make sure that we are the best? We're accessible. And how do I make sure that we are the best? My people. And it's around staffing and structuring that whole kind of clock. You're not going to get the same people that work for you from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, that then do all evenings and weekends. We've had to work within the team, and I'm going to talk to you about the marketing team shortly and how we've really embraced their individuality. But I can't stress how important that is. And if you want to make a difference, if you want to be the best, if you want to stand out, if you want to be a market leader, this matters. It's not just a nice to have, it matters. So I think if we can just go on to the next slide, please, Lee. So this is some of the marketing team. So we've got Jodie, Alex, Lauren, Gemma, Cheryl, and Charlotte. They've all got different colour hair now. They are all brunette now. They used to be blonde, but no longer. We've got Alex on our maternity leave now. But going back to people, what's really important is that you know your team. I need to know what makes each individual one of these tick. No different to I need to know what makes my customers tick, because these guys are the conduit between my vision, my roles, my responsibilities to the customer and getting those messages out there. So if you just move on to the next slide, please, Lee. So what we kind of have done is we've really showcased their individualities and their strengths, because that's what makes our team amazing and that's what makes them amazing. And it equally gives them an edge when they're wanting to talk to customers, because there's so much more to them than just marketing new homes. Like Jem here. Jem's got the kind of persona as savvy working mum. And if you just want to move on again, Lee, that'd be grand. And Jem is, if you ever want to feel inadequate of being organised or just exceptional, then Jem's your woman, really. She is literally the most organised person, and her daughter Phoebe is basically a mini me. So what they do and their content that they put out outside of the kind of generic after sales marketing content is about them. It's about Jem's hints and tips of being a working mum and trying to fit everything in and trying to find workarounds and money saving tips. And Phoebe's probably our resident vlogger. She gets very involved with anything that we need to do. But what it shows there is it shows that Gemma's normal when she's got a family, and she's also battling and dealing with everything else that everyone else is dealing with. And actually, she comes up with some really great hints and tips. So building her persona and her personality and her brand in an area that she's passionate about and that showcases her allows us to be able to have better conversations. And next slide, please. We've then got Lauren, who, if you follow Lauren on Twitter, I urge you to do so. Her garden is just out of this world. And in addition to that, Lauren is one of our shared owners. So not only does she work for Asda, but she equally bought an Asda home. So she has been very instrumental in getting out actually what home means to her and what shared ownership meant to her and her family, of her husband and her two beautiful little Daxies. But what Lauren does is she takes us on her journey of how she lives in her home and how her private garden means so much to her. And her raised beds through the seasons are to die for. So if you ever need any garden envy, Lauren is your girl. Next slide, please. We've also got with Lauren, so if you want to go onto our website and we'll share all the links with you, we've also got with Lauren a life story which shows around her journey into shared ownership. And that's another kind of real authentic element of wanting to portray their stories and their voices, but always kind of bringing it back to what their role is within the team, but equally what their role is within the group. So next slide, please. And then we've got Shez. So Shez is probably our sass queen of the marketing team. She is resident dog lover. She's one of those people, again, that makes you feel inadequate. She rescues Romanian pups and she's just a dream. And what Shez kind of shares with her community and our wider Asda sales community is her lust for life, really big into fitness, big into rubbish coffees. Don't even get me started. I mean, her coffee order is a joke. But what this enables her to do is have interactions with a different kind of demographic within our marketing section and equally our customers. If you just next slide, please. So what you can see from Shez is that she often shares her day-to-day routines, whether that's her fitness, but equally Cheryl is undergoing some professional development within the team and she's doing her diplomas in Oxford marketing. So what she's showcasing there is the time that it takes her outside of work to do that. We give her the support to do it, but it's completely driven by her, and watching her grow and her success over that is huge. You may have listened to her on, she was a guest speaker on the Comms Hero podcast, which I know many of you have listened to. And she's also had the idea herself recently to start up a shared ownership podcast. And this is what's really important. So going back to the people and going back to why we work so well as a team is that we're all different. We all bring something different to the table. We all bring different ideas to the table, and we all support each other for the autonomy for you guys to go and deliver that idea. It's time for you to grow and time for you to speak to the customers in a way that I just wouldn't know how to. So next slide, please. So I think the kind of last couple of main slides that I want to go through is what not to do and what to do. I think just a very quick overview of what I've given you about a small element of our sales team shows you that these things don't work. The rigid working practices and structures, habitual ways of working, short-term thinking and skills deficit. Now, like I said before, we were very lucky at Asda to have a very flexible approach to working pre-COVID. We're very much given the autonomy to make decisions, to deliver on our objectives. We are not micromanaged whatsoever. It's very much like you're grown adults. You know when to do the job. You do it when it needs doing. Obviously, that will differ if you are frontline and you are very customer facing. But you could go, for example, you could go on holiday for 3 or 4 weeks and work for 2 of them out there. Work really isn't a kind of place, it's what we do. And the beauty of that is it allows all of those individual personalities and strengths to come to the fore. It allows them all to bring something else to the table. It equally allows them to say, do you know what? Kind of 9 till 5 doesn't work for me, but evenings and weekends do. Or actually, I'd rather do kind of weekends and a couple of evenings and have my days free if I've got young children or of the like. So it's really being open and not just going, no, that would never work. We've never done that before. Why wouldn't it work? Because the more that you can give your team to run themselves, the more that you can give your team that they feel that they're in power of their own destiny, they'll do it for you anyway. And they do it better because they're doing it because they want to, and they can see their own ideas and their own journey come to life. Next slide, please, Lee. So again, pretty much the flip side. Got a little dare to fail in there, a little nod to comms hero. So we showed you Cheryl's Oxford marketing. Gemma and Lauren have also gone through the same thing. So, and across the team, we're very open to personal development, aligned to your job or not so as well, because we want the whole of you at work. I want to know what excites all of you. So it's really worth investing in that. And with that is also time's really important. You've got to give your time to each other. That's just as important as any other kind of diploma or degree. I think you've seen that we really try and encourage the team to be themselves. That's super, super important for me. Trying things out and it's okay if they don't work, and it's okay if we drop the clanger, and it's okay if we never do it again. But the fact that an idea has been put forward, something that they've seen, we're constantly asking our teams to go, right, well, what consumers, what products do you really enjoy engaging with? How do they treat you? And ultimately, how do they make you feel? Because that's what I want. I want my customers to feel something. I want them to feel something through that transaction. And so it's not just a transaction. And it's making the most of learning opportunities, and learning opportunities come in many, many, many phases. I think Cheryl and I shared a learning opportunity the other weekend on doing 3 peaks. I sat next to Cheryl for nearly 30 hours on a coach, and I don't think she ever wants to see me again. But joking aside, what that does do, I think what you can see is that we are much more about the work. And is it difficult in getting that balance when we're out of the office and we're so kind of fragmented geographically? Yes, but this is the difference. The people make you want to do it. We are much more, and this just isn't me sounding ridiculous. I feel that we are like a little kind of family. We have WhatsApp chats. We're always available for each other. And it really works. And it works because we understand each other's pressures. We understand when we go quiet, are you okay? Because that's really powerful as well. But we understand what sits behind that work person. And you will never get the best out of your team if you don't understand who they are and what makes them tick. So I think, is there a next slide, Lee, or are we? So again, I just want to, the people behind the brand are the difference. And I talk about this all the time. I talk about your why. Why do you turn up? Why do you want to do it? Why do you want to work at Asda? Why do you want to work in the team? And what can we do for you, and what can you bring? And I think a couple of the quotes from the guys, that the marketing team, Jodie, team WhatsApp, the managers are just like us. It takes the fear of management away. And I suppose we'd never looked at it like that. She just put, we don't just chat work, we encourage, celebrate and support. And believe you me, when we were doing that 3 peaks the other week, that's exactly what we needed. Other comments, guided rather than confined, supported to work, leadership opposed to management, coaching and being encouraged. It sounds obvious, but when things get busy and when things get stressy, these are the first things that go. Okay, because all you can see is priorities and deadlines. You kind of miss the person in all of this. But please always make sure that if you're going and you want to deliver something different, you can't do it on your own. I may have some great ideas, but they might not work. But equally, I need my team to be able to work with me than me go on my own. The old adage is, you can go so far on your own, but so much further together. And I can't implore that enough. So I think kind of just to close from me, Joel, before I think we've got a few minutes, if there's anything that anyone wants to kind of say, but it is really around giving people the autonomy, and the support is really important, not only in work guises, but personally as well. It's huge.
Yeah, cool. Absolutely. Some really cool stuff there, and really interesting, because how long ago did we start working together, Amy? Probably 5-6 years ago, when you started on this journey with your team, and to see them now, it's amazing, because that personal brand, as you say, that personal brand shines through, and people buy from people. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Whether you're selling something, or you're selling the service, or you're providing a service, they want to build that empathy, and that's something that the team's done. So some cracking questions coming in. I've got a couple as well. Did you say the people made me do it? Did that? I'm joking. We'll skip over that. So Jonathan's coming with a really cool question, actually. Jonathan Flair Petty from Valleys to Coast. He said, what meetings do you have within the team? One-to-ones, anything different? Because you guys remote. You don't always get together, do you? You're working at different times of the day.
Yeah.
You've all got your specialists, whether somebody's looking after Instagram or someone's on live chat. How do you bring it together? How do you reflect and come together? Is that structured, or is it more fluid than that?
No, it isn't. And I think, and again, it's what works for your team. So our team don't like that kind of every other week we have a formal catch up. We don't seem to get the best out of each other for that. We have communication channels open all the time. So our WhatsApp, we've got a team WhatsApp, and the smaller team. So we've got a marketing team WhatsApp, a new build team WhatsApp. So you can have that kind of banter. What we do is the smaller teams. So we've got the 4 teams. The smaller teams will arrange to go for lunch or a coffee every now and again. But equally, what we have just done today, interestingly, because we're pretty much spread across the south of the country. So we've given the team a map of all of their colleagues' locations on. So what they can say is, do you know what, actually, they may not be in my immediate team, but I could really do with a coffee with someone today. Oh, actually, oh God, well, Gem's only 10 minutes away. I'll hit her up, see if she wants to do it. And what we've probably been a bit foul of through COVID as well is, as a leadership team, is probably not driving that as much as we should have done. So what myself and my 2 heads of sales are going to be doing is just every month, just going somewhere for a work together day, letting people know where we are. Pop in, don't pop in, it's entirely up to you. But they know that structure is there, that kind of human contact is there. But the team are very good in meeting up with themselves. They're very good at meeting each other for a coffee. And actually what we find is that meeting of grabbing lunch or grabbing a coffee or grabbing a beer is much better than having a meeting.
Yeah, cool. So much more push for in-person catch-ups now. We can, rather than just sat on Teams going through the formalities.
But then we do have the people that still aren't comfortable with that. So we have to manage that as well. So it's around, listen, you do what works for you. And we'll structure that and we'll help that in any way. I'll send you it, I'll send you the map so you can see what I mean. But it's just been really useful for people to go, oh my God, you're really close.
Yeah. Or you are really close. Oh! Right. Yes. Daniel Taylor from University of Wolverhampton has said, do you have any team building activity recommendations?
Drinking.
No.
On
park sessions.
On a, if there's one thing I hate, it's organised fun. Okay, I just cannot abide it. I cannot deal it. So team building, we found, and the best team building events are a night out, a lunch, just giving people the space to kind of be themselves. The old kind of physical activities also work as well, where, you're all just blowing and you can't do it.
The 3 Peaks challenge though, didn't you?
We did the 3 Peaks, and the 3 Peaks was, that was way more than team building. That was soul destroying, but very team building. So anything like that, I think anything where you've got a goal and you're working towards, hugely, but don't underestimate the coming together and building your team at all levels with, should we just meet for a pint?
Yeah,
or non-pint.
Especially given everything that's happened.
Absolutely.
Just being able to catch up with people. That'd be great. So Emma Wanacott from North Devon Homes, who's a one-woman comms team, should I say. She's put, for those of us with no team, well, unless you're working in front of a mirror, oh gosh. How do you get senior managers to show the benefit of having a bigger team to get the best from and customers and adding skills and resources? So how do you influence that leadership team, Amy?
And I know this is really difficult and different for every organisation, but you're employed for a reason. Okay, I was employed to sell homes and make sure that we didn't have anything available. They trusted me to do that. So I knew what I had to do. What are your competitors doing? Where do you sit within that? How does your brand look? What are the risks? What's falling behind? What could you do better? So it's all about, if you had more, what can you give me? So it's the old adage, the business case, what does that look like? And you have to put the work in. This isn't something that you can go and say, oh, I just want a couple more staff. Why do you want them? And what difference are we going to make? And this is going back to those why questions. So what is it around, why do we want to do that? Do we want to be market leaders in that? Are we happy with where we are? Because again, that's okay as well if that's where you want to be. So it's around putting together where you sit in your industry, where you sit comparably, and equally, if you had more, what does that look like? So it's you've really got to flesh that out, and you've really got to tell a story. Don't just go with a paper, go with a presentation, go with some real tangible, you're in comms, go with a video, go with something that makes them feel alive and that makes them go, oh, I get it.
I like the Helen Reynolds tack for this, which is just do some stuff, try it, and then go and evidence it to your leadership team.
And that's kind of what we did. Is it, not advocating, do it, and asking for forgiveness is easier than permission. But if you know that it's going to work and you know that the business benefits, because that's ultimately what this is, my vision, everyone has a home. I've got to make sure that happens. So if I'd have gone and said, oh, I want to go on Twitter, well, we're not doing that. Well, I'll do it anyway because I know it works. So there is that element. You have got to take a risk and you've got to be brave.
Absolutely. And you did that years ago, and this is the result. Fantastic. You mentioned there about different channels and how people are interacting with you. What do you? The last question, really, from me, which is, what do you see that trend being? Because are we getting to a point where we're fed up of digital, and we're going to go back to I want to see somebody, or what do you think?
I think
it's a hard one.
And I think it's the mix, Joel, and it's around what I said before about availability. So it may well be people's entrance into you, their first kind of bits of communication with you, maybe a DM, a WhatsApp, or something like live chat. Does that mean that they are going to continue to interact with you that way? No, it doesn't. But what you're showing them is you're showing them your ease of availability. You're showing them that you're there to work with them however they want to work with. So do we sell homes through tweets? Well, of course we don't, right? No. But do we start that interaction there? Yeah, damn right we do.
Absolutely.
And then we migrate to the more traditional forms of comms, such as phone, email, that people feel more certain with when they're in a transactional nature and in a transactional environment. But we're never going to be in the way that, oh, I'm so bored of it all. They're always going to be there. And this is why this is really important, that you constantly give them your attention. Because just because your analytics may have dipped 1 month and, Insta's gone up and Twitter's gone down, that doesn't mean that Twitter's dead. That means that actually, are we communicating in the right way there? And what kind of lead gen are we getting in there to how we convert that?
Absolutely. So we're using these channels to build that empathy, do that introduction, and then using the more trusted channels, which we know are face-to-face, phone, and written comms.
And people are busy. People don't want to, do I want to sit on the phone like now? No, I don't. And I don't want to talk to anyone. Just like message me and give me the answer. That's all I want.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, as always, Amy, fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Before we scoop, just a quick update. We've still got the competition going. So
no, Lee, I'm not.
Are you sponsored by this? No, but that's a limited edition Stone Roses, isn't it?
This is limited edition, so what else?
So what else? Competition to win Amy's top.
Sure, I'm not giving this away. No chance.
No, all right, okay. Oh, I thought that was nothing. No? Okay, so take a photo of yourself, post it on Twitter, use the hashtag ComZero, Instagram, LinkedIn, whichever channel works for you. We're giving away the Sharpies, the daily diaries. These are fantastic. The ComZero Pets vouchers for those dogs, cats that we've been seeing. We've been seeing a hamster today, yeah. And some Amazon gift vouchers. So lots and lots of gifts to go away. So please get posted. Thanks to our sponsors, Red Kite, Staff Base, Prezi, and React and Share. First up for sponsoring this session. We're coming over to next up is Carrie Ann Wade and Lee Griffiths, and then straight after that, Christine Hancock. So 2 good sessions there coming up. But if you've got any questions for Amy, I'm sure she'll be about in the social lounge. Thanks again. Thanks, Amy, for being ace. And thanks, Asta team, for being ace.
Thanks, guys.